Hey everyone! Today I'm revisiting a childhood favorite, Betty Crocker's Cookbook for Boys and Girls. This is the 1975 edition. This video is part of the Summer Peach collaboration hosted by Paul and Benny. I was so excited that they thought of me and invited me to do this collaboration. I love their channel. They do food reviews, taste tests. They've taught me a ton about making coffee shop quality drinks at home. You should definitely check out their channel, but that's not all. We have several other amazing channels participating in this collab. We've got Cooking with Bobby Joe, Maiko, Daniel Toro, and Team Benson's Desert Garden. We are all preparing different types of peach dishes in honor of the upcoming peach season and in honor of summer. So what am I making? Today I'm going to be preparing peach double-deckers. I remember seeing this photo growing up and thinking, these look amazingly fancy. And I've never tried this recipe. I'm a grown adult and I've never tried this recipe. I'm really excited to give this a try after all these years. Let's get started. This recipe does require pie crust sticks. Now I can't find those. I'm not even sure if they're made anymore, but I do happen to have some Betty Crocker pie crust mix. Some Betty Crocker pie crust mix. So I'm gonna be substituting this for the pie crust sticks. Prepare pastry for 1 crust pie as directed on package, except do not roll out. This is actually for 2 pie crusts, and I only need enough for 1 pie crust, so we're gonna have to split this up. So half a pouch, it says, is 1 1/3 cups. I suppose if you were very ambitious, you could use actual handmade pie crust. I am not that ambitious. Stir pie crust mix in cold water. So we need 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons cold water. 2 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons. We may need to go in with a little bit more water. Let me get in there with my hands and see. If I just do like half a teaspoon of water. I mentioned earlier that I thought this recipe was very fancy when I was a kid. I don't know what made me think that. Peaches and whipped cream probably seemed pretty special. Divide the pastry into 8 equal parts and shape each into a ball. So we have our 8 pieces plus a couple crumbles. We're kind of making pie crust cookies here. 8 balls of pie crust. Pat each ball into a 3.5 inch circle on an ungreased baking sheet. Luckily, I always have a ruler in the kitchen. That is not enough. That is not enough. We're not patting, we're pinching. We're gonna go for the pinch here. I think they can look a little bit rustic because they look a little bit ragged around the edges in the photo. That's what we got. That's about 3.5 inches. It's a little wonky. I'm gonna do that to all of these. So I've got all of these patted out. Do they look a little wild, a little rough around the edges? Yes, they do. One thing I did discover, if I make this again, the pieces of pie crust that I'm not patting out are gonna go in the fridge because these got super soft. Next, we have to just kind of make sure that we make some holes in each one with a fork. Just prick it with a fork so that it doesn't puff up. Mix 1 tablespoon granulated sugar and half a teaspoon cinnamon in a custard cup. Sprinkle the pastry circles with the cinnamon and sugar mixture. So we have our sugar and our cinnamon. Does seem like a lot. Sprinkle each one of these with some of the mixture. Bake 8 to 10 minutes or until golden brown. My little pie crust cookies are out of the oven and they're just cooling on a rack back here. So while they're cooling, let's move on to the next step. First, we need to drain this can of peaches. This would be great, I'm sure, with fresh peaches as well, but this is what we have. I don't know if my strainer's big enough. Okay, just. Next, we have to make our whipped cream. I did manage to think ahead on something. Placed my bowl and my beaters in the fridge so they got nice and cold. My cream is nice and cold. If you have a stand mixer, you can do this even more quickly. I just didn't want to drag it over here for this. Our half cup of heavy whipping cream, all out of there. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar to this. And then continue to whip this until you have whipped cream, basically. We have whipped cream. Now it's time to assemble. So you start with your pie crust cookies. You put 1 on the bottom. And by the way, you can actually make this part ahead of time, which makes it even simpler. We go for some whipped cream. We have 4 of these, so we want to make sure we divide it a little bit evenly. Peaches. The recipe's pretty general about how to do this. And I realize this is a very easy dessert. But again, when I was a kid, like this looked like the peak of fancy special desserts to me. We've got a couple peaches. I'm gonna put a little bit more whipped cream. Am I supposed to do that? I might be adding more whipped cream than I'm supposed to. Oh yeah, no, I wasn't supposed to do that second layer, but we're doing it. Treat yourself. Then you top with your other little pie crust cookie, and then you put more whipped cream. Get a peach, or two for the top. You are slippery. I would probably just stick with cinnamon because that's what we used before, but it says nutmeg. So we're gonna do, this is brand new nutmeg. Hold on. We're gonna do a little sprinkling of nutmeg. When did I buy nutmeg? Just do a little bit. I can't believe I did it. After all these years, I made myself a peach double-decker and I'm gonna just throw it on the counter, sliding around. The other suggestion was to use pie filling in place of the peaches. So if you wanted apple double-deckers or cherry double-deckers or whatever, you could do pie filling instead and make a completely different dessert. Really, really excited to give this a try. But first off, what do we think? What do we think? These versus this. I think I did pretty good. If you really think about it, this is kind of like an assemble your own peach pie. Oh, this is a good idea. Make a ton of these little pie crust cookie rounds and then have different fillings and then people can make their own. I love this idea. I'm using that, but now I have to give this a taste. We're gonna get in there. It looks good. Not as easy to eat in a graceful way though. It is mostly peaches and whipped cream, so that means that it is delicious. This is kind of a fun, light little quick summer dessert. You're having people over to have dinner on the patio and you need something fast. This is a good option. Strawberries. I would do this with strawberries too. I think this one is a keeper. I don't know why it took me so long to give this recipe a try, but I'm glad I did. A huge thank you to Paul and Benny for inviting me to this summer peach collaboration. You inspired me to try a recipe that I have wanted to make for a very long time. Be sure to check out the other channels that are also participating in this collaboration. We have Cooking with Bobby Joe, Maiko, Daniel Toro, and Team Benson, Desert Garden. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the red button below. I post content about food, vintage cookbooks, and retro recipes every single week. Thanks again, and I will see you in my next video.